Peace, everyone. Happy Moon Day. We're here with another episode of GlowGetter Affirmations. I'm your host, Sayeda Embra, and I'm super excited to be a beautiful divine guest, Keiry Suero here. You know, she's going to make a lot of debuts on the podcast, so just stay tuned. Definitely love chatting with her. And the reason why we're even here with the episode so quickly after our last one is because we were on FaceTime, literally just just having a deep talk, and then it just went into everything, and we're like, oh, we have to bring this to the people. So yeah, I'm super excited. Before we start and get into our conversation, I wanted to pull a self-care card for the audience, for everyone. And I'll pull a self-care card for you, Keiry, if that's okay.
Thank you.
And okay. And before I do that, I have some announcements with Earth Unleashed Co. We have a inner work journal, a healing journal that goes where you could follow through season 2 of GlowGetter Affirmations. So you'll have the journal prompts, mini meditations there, daily affirmations. We have shadow work in there, a lot of different things that are in the journal, and it's an ebook, so you can head over to. There should be a link in the description, and you can head over to shopearthunleashedco.com. Also, next thing is on Black Friday. We're gonna have a huge sale on Black Friday, of course, for Cyber Monday, Small Business Saturday, but also Black Friday is when How to Meditate Like a Goddess ebook that I've written. That's when it's launching. So you'll be able to order and have it delivered to you. You can also order it on Amazon so that you can get a physical copy of it if that's what you choose. I personally love iPads and ebooks and stuff like that, but some people love the real paper physical. So yeah, either way, you'll have options for yourself. So put that in your reminders. November 25th is when it'll be launching. So yeah, super excited. Let's get to the self-care cards. I'm really loving the experience I've had with these cards because they always seem to be right for me at that point in time. So yeah, the first one is going to be for all our listeners out there. Okay. Take your time on a task or activity you would normally rush. Yes, the art of being mindfully doing things. I'm trying to eliminate the word busy from my vocabulary, just because it doesn't give mindful energy. When you're busy, like your mind's super occupied, and so rushing, that's definitely something that I know I cannot do anymore. So yeah. Okay, Keiry, your card is coming. Yep, it's right there. Plan a relaxing activity.
Oh gosh. The universe knows that I've been trying to take a week off for the past month and I haven't never fully planned it.
Okay, so plan the activity for yourself. Like, you're worth it. You are definitely worth it. Would you like to say anything to our listeners before we jump right in?
Oh my gosh, I don't know what to say. I would say like anything like in regards of
anything business, spiritual.
Oh, okay. So I was listening to a podcast early today, and they were having a conversation with somebody. There's this girl that she's very famous in the marketing niche, and then she said something that really was powerful to me. She mentioned that a lot of entrepreneurs, so a lot of people who own businesses, we create a business that we create a life around our businesses instead of creating a business around our life. And it was so powerful to me because we shift our whole life for a business, but then what about if we shift a business to fit around the life that we want to create? And it has me thinking about, I'm like, okay, like what life that I want to be and what type of business will be the best fit, or how I can create systems in my business that will allow me to live the life that I want to live instead of me living a life for a business. But it was very powerful because I feel like if you, when especially during the time that you're trying to develop and grow a business, you completely shift your life for a business, and it should be the whole opposite. So it was a very powerful statement and something that definitely,
Yeah, please send the episode link.
I will. I will send it.
That's powerful. That is really powerful because I know, you know that I've had trouble like creating those boundaries with my own business, boundaries within myself. And when people say like literally the mountain is you, I think that's the title of the book.
Yeah,
and like
book.
Yeah, and your only enemy is truly yourself. It's the truth. Like it's really the truth. And I love how that episode seems to be talking about like being able to create boundaries with yourself, with other people, and taking your time to like curate your life instead of just haphazardly going through your life.
Yeah. And it's something that I also that I took away from that. It's that a lot of times when we want to run a business and we take courses or we take, I don't know, we go to seminars, we hire a coach, things like that, where like we want to find the key, like, okay, teach me how, teach me. If you tell me jump, I'm going to jump. What is it I need to do? And then when you that want to take somebody else's path so much, you are going to start disconnecting from your intuition every day more. Because you're trying to walk on a journey that it's not even, maybe not your journey to walk into, but because you are listening to this coach or you are taking this course and they're telling you this is the way and the only way, and if you don't do it this way, you're going to be a failure. And when you approach business that way, you're going to start walking away from your intuition, and you're going to start making decisions that it's not in your highest purpose, because you're trying to have the success that somebody else got. But then success is different for everybody.
So different. So different. And so different for everyone. And it's not a blanket. Like we've been fed a blanket of success. Like growing up, that's going to be something that success looks similar. You can do 5 different things, and this is what's going to bring you success and happiness and the ultimate peace. And freedom, or whatever that is for someone. And it's just like, it's really specific. Like our journey here on earth is highly personal. Like no one knows your soul calling, and not even you if you haven't unveiled that, And so it's just like, who is anyone to tell anyone not to do something or to do something? And who are you not to listen to yourself?
And it's like, again, it's like for me, success could be living in a penthouse with glass windows and like having a view to the city. But then for somebody, it could be, I want to live in the woods, I want to live by the river, I want to be in nature. Like that is a definition of success to a person. But then for me, it could be completely different. For the next person, it could be completely different. It's again just tapping into within yourself to define what is it that success represents to you, and what will bring you the most joy, and walk and like create a business or create system that's going to help you to get closer to that. If for you don't see yourself working until you're like, when you're like 60s, or you want to like retire very young, and you probably don't want to run a business the rest of your life, then maybe, just create a system where you don't have to be present in your business all the time, where your business can run itself, when you hire staff of qualified team that you trust, that they're going to help you run a business even when you're not present, even if you decide to take a month of vacation, even if you decide to have a child, if you decide to go to a retreat in the mountains with no internet connection. You're not worried about if your business is still running, is your business still successful. It's just like, again, like we are the designer of our own world. Like, we design what we want our life to be, and you have to tap into yourself and figure it out. What is the life that I want to live, and what is my higher purpose, and then hire coaches that are going to help you get to that path. Get courses that is going to help you build a system. Anything that's going to help you get closer to that path, that is what you're supposed to do, instead of focusing so much on the financial aspect of it, because we can get easily lost in the financial aspect of building a business. That, I'm supposed to hit 10K. But what are you going to do with the 10K if you hit the 10K? What's the 10K represent to you? Like, it's just a number. If there's no meaning behind it, it's just going to be a number. It's an ego thing.
Yes, exactly. And speaking of ego, it's just like when your ego is so developed into your business and the outcomes, like you get lost in your vision, like lost in your actual mission. You know, I definitely suffered with that, like, for sure, when I relaunched the business and went through that whole, like, leaving dental school and all of that, and finding out that it's like, I don't need to be so attached with the outcome and so attached with what I think other people are expecting of me, because like, clearly that disrupts a lot of people's expectations. And we're social creatures, you know, we have like groups of people around us that look at what we do. And I know growing up, like, I have church and then I have school, then I have this and I have that. Like, there's groups of people who are looking at me. Like, and it's a little bit nerve-wracking, honestly. And it puts your ego in a space where it's just like, okay, maybe it's not only about what I do, it's about what I do for others too, but in the space where it's like, does that diminish what I genuinely want? And now, like, I'm so grateful because I'm in a space where, like, I'm not diminishing myself anymore. Like, no way, because I have to live authentically, and that authenticity, that's the money flows with that, the influence flows with that, the value flows with that, all the other things, they flow with authenticity, like true authenticity. If you look at all the people that you love being around, either you love their energy, you love what they put out on social media, all these different things, it's being authentic. When you know someone's living their truth, and it doesn't even matter if you say a nice comment or a mean comment, they're just still going to be them. And that's a level of courageousness or courage we should take in our daily life, where it's just like, regardless, I'm going to be me. And people could take it or leave it respectfully. But,
respectfully.
Respectfully. But they could take it or leave it. And when you get to that spot, like, you're navigating closer to your higher self. Like, you're getting closer and closer to that fact. I'm glad you brought this up, because this helps segue into what we were talking about. We're about to talk about. With finding your own path, allowing other people to journey on their paths, and how toxic spirituality is low-key running rampant at this point in time, but also how we can find different traits of toxic spirituality in ourselves, if that's when we're navigating through ego. And just thinking about it, like, the reason why that even came up in my mind is because I had multiple scenarios where the people around me weren't feeling like they were given compassion or kindness from me, because of different choices that they were making that I did or didn't have a comment or opinion on. And that is something where it's just like, I don't want to tell anybody what to do. Of course not. And I shouldn't be able to tell anyone what to do. but also being able to guide someone or give them tools or advice. You know, I'm always trying to give advice and learning tips and, ooh, here's a fun fact, all this stuff. And it's literally a part of me. And I'm understanding that the people who want to tune in and understand that, they will be there. But if someone is not asking me for advice, like, I need to chill my ego and not just spontaneously give different things to someone that's not open. And that's completely okay.
Yeah.
Completely okay. Like, I had to swallow that, though, because it was just like, it was eye-opening. It's like, dang, like, not everybody wants to learn like me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it just like, the thing is that you can see clearly what aspect of themselves they need to heal when you are seeing things from an outside perspective, that you just can tell, like, hey, like, I can see that you can just work on this, but then that doesn't mean that they're necessarily ready to work on it. And then people get super defensive if you tell them, like, I can see that you are going through X. I can see that you have X trauma, but then maybe that person is not ready to dive into healing that trauma yet. So when you tell those things to people, they of course are going to get defensive. And then it just hard because for me, it was also something that I have to learn the hard way. When I could see people struggling with things and I'm giving my advice to people, and it wasn't being taken in a way that I'm like, okay, let me just implement this. Because if you're coming to me for an advice, I guess, like, I was expecting, like, okay, if you come for me for an advice, you want to talk about a topic, let me tell you what I think. And I'm gonna be the one that I'm gonna give you the raw truth. I don't care. I'm gonna be raw. And I guess, like, that's why I don't have so many friends. Because I'm like, I just going to tell you how it is. I'm not gonna sugarcoat anything for you to please your ego. But at the same time, that's a way that if you're not careful, for me, it could be an ego thing as well. Because I can come with somebody giving a bunch of advice because I know better, right? Because I know. But then that doesn't necessarily means that they're ready to hear that aspect yet. So, like, taking that step back or asking the question, like, hey, do you want somebody just to listen, or do you want me to give an advice? Like, do you want me actually to tell you how it is? Because it's kind of like, you have to protect your energy, one. If somebody's coming to you, if somebody's coming to you and they want to bend, protect your energy. So don't allow whatever they're saying to get to you. And the same, because you're supposed to just to listen. And a lot of time when you know exactly how you can help them, you have to legit just hold your tone. And you have to be like, I gotta protect my energy, so I don't allow this to get to me. But at the same time, I'm not here to give an advice. I'm here to listen. And if somebody wants to actually want an advice from you, then you have that opportunity too.
I completely agree. And so it's just like, when you are conversating with someone and wanting to give your advice, or seeing that they may need it, but they're not even asking, like, what you're saying is like a specific, someone's asking for your advice, and then, like, once you give it, you're like, oh, no. But then there's another side of it where it's just like, when someone is not venting to you and is needing advice, like, they, like, clearly, like, you see what may be the thing. The thing is, it's just like, not everyone is open and receptive to it, but also it's like, you may not really know, like, everyone's journey and what the lessons that we all need to learn, they're not the same. And even if you came into an experience that was similar to what this other person is going through, it's not necessarily going to be the same exact outcome. And there's different components than the experience that you had. And oftentimes, like, it can come from a good place. Like, I know with me, like, it's not coming from like a judgmental, like, oh, this, oh, that. It's like, no, I want you to be your best self. Like, don't you want to be your best self? Like, come on, like, yeah. And it's like, that's not always like received in a way that's positive and all that stuff. And so it's just like, understanding that and being okay with that, like genuinely, like being okay.
And then setting boundaries. I feel like if you have a friend, a family member, whoever who comes to you and nagging about something constantly, and you constantly giving them advice and constantly telling them, like, hey, like, and you still not want to either take my advice into consideration, or you're not taking any action to shift that problem, even though you know that that's something that it's holding you back. If you feel like they're not ready, set your boundaries. Like, you say, like, hey, I am so grateful that you feel safe to share this with me right now, but that is draining my energy trying to listen to the same thing all the time, and you're not taking any action to resolve it. So I'm not, and like in a very nice way, I'm not gonna listen anymore. Like, you know, I'm not gonna listen anymore, because it's like, if you want somebody to be there for you and hear you out, and that person, you know, you be that ear from that person. But then if it happens time and time again, and you still giving that person comes to you for you to hear them out, and there's the same thing month after next month after month after next, it gets tiring. And you have to protect your energy. You have to protect yourself, because and honestly, you have to set that boundary if it's constantly happening all the time, and you want me to hear you out, but you're not looking for resolving that. And that is a lesson for them to find out for themselves. And they will resolve it when they're ready, but that doesn't necessarily means that you're always going to have to give them that ear for them to bend when they need to bend. You know, like, you can set those boundaries and decide, hey, I've been hearing this for the past year. I am grateful that you feel that I can be somebody you can talk to, but I don't want to hear about it anymore.
Yeah, definitely. And that's boundaries, but still coming from a place of compassion and understanding. Like, it's a balance with that. And sometimes also, like, people may not necessarily receive it in like a kindness or compassion type of way, even if like you're not necessarily coming from a place of malice. And so it's like, I knew I was having trouble skirting around other people's emotions, or like trying to walk around other people's emotions. And it's like, there's a time for that, for sure. There is a time for that, to understand like how someone's navigating at this point in time. But also there's another time where it's just like, okay, this is not how we should be navigating. And with that, it's just like, okay, either we have to part paths, part ways, or set boundaries. And boundaries honestly have become my best friend, because they're definitely needed, for sure. They're needed. Like, they're needed in every single relationship, no matter what, like a romantic, a friendship, a family relationship, work relationship, colleagues, strangers. Boundaries. They're healthy for all of us. Yeah. The thing is, like, it doesn't feel good to overstep on someone else's boundaries, let alone someone stepping on your boundaries. So, like, that's the way that we can really respect and honor each other, in a way that's like still focused on ourselves, but still the collective at the same time. So
and then, to be honest, something that my therapist said to me, because I was working on boundaries for a while too, and then she said to me, people who doesn't have boundaries have a struggle with people who have boundaries, because they don't hold them themselves. And that really was like, wow, that was like a revolution for me, because I've been creating boundaries around people, but then there were people who were like, get upset at me because of my boundaries. And I was having a conversation with my therapist, and she's like, because they don't have boundaries themselves, and they feel triggered because you have boundaries. And people who have boundaries will understand other person's boundary, that they will respect it. And And it was like, okay, that was a really powerful statement, because a lot of time we don't follow up with our boundaries because we don't want to hurt somebody else's feeling. But the truth is, it's like, that's between them and God. Like, that's between them and the universe. Like, if they don't have any boundaries, that's nothing to have to deal with me. And I just want to any person who's listening to this, it's like, if you have boundaries, somebody feel triggered by your boundaries, it's nothing to deal with you. It's something that they have to deal within themselves.
Yeah. And oftentimes, like, you will work as a mirror for someone else. So you are a mirror of what they need to heal. And just like they are a mirror for what you need to heal. And when we start to look at our relationships like that, we won't take as much as we do personally. Like, there was a point in time where I would take so many different things personal. Someone would say something to me, or, oh, I didn't do something perfectly. The perfectionist in me would be like, no, like, no, this is like, it's attacking my character, or it's attacking my value. And it's like, no one can diminish your value unless you allow it.
Yeah.
No one can do that. No one can do that, even in a conversation, in an interaction. Like, no one can do that unless you truly allow it. And a piece of us doesn't understand or doesn't consciously know that we can allow or not allow something. Sometimes we're like, oh, well, they just did this and like took advantage, or someone just did this and they said this, and then I was mad for the rest of the day. And it's like, whoa, like, if something happens 2 minutes before the 24 hours that you're about to experience, does that need to affect the whole 24 hours, the next 2 hours, the next 3 hours, even if that was just a small sliver of your day, of your experience? And so it's just like, not giving away your power so easily. Like, and when I tell you this, I'm telling myself this too, because like, this is something that I had to learn, like, not giving my power away so easily, not disempowering myself in different conversations and interactions, because it's just like, I have more power than I even know at this point in time. There's always more. There's always expansion. There's a whole universe inside me. And I feel like I'm just here at the amoeba stage, you know what I'm saying? Like there's so much. And that's the beauty of unfolding. Like, that's what we're here to do in this life. We're not here to work. We're not here to pay bills. We're not here to do all these different 3D physical reality, different things. Like, those are necessary because we're here. However, that's not the purpose. Like, it's not your mission. That's different. That's bigger. That's more powerful. And it transcends all the other realities that you may have been to anyway. But I digress. But
and just like, you're just focusing on your own path and believing that you are so much more than money.
Yeah.
You are so much more than a business, because a business is a manifestation of the universe that exists within yourself. If you run a business, if you are creating anything, if you have a career, it came from the universe that exists within yourself that guide you to get there. It's not the other way around. You are the creator of anything that you create in this life. Even every decision that you make, it shifts your reality. Every decision that you make shifts your reality. And that's the thing that I have to craft that in my head, because it's like, we feel like we're so out of control that we don't have that power to shift life or to do things. And it's like, we have so much more control that we think. So like, eating something that is nurturing for your body today can shift how your body feels tomorrow. Working on the project that you've been wanting to create for so long can get you closer to the manifestation of that project. It's just one action that you take, and just focusing on your path and not so much in what other people are doing and what other people will say. Because again, going back to the topic of this podcast today, a lot of times people who doesn't have worked on themselves to become the best version of themselves, they constantly will judge the path that you're walking right now because they don't understand it. And then sometimes you're gonna try to like make them see, like, hey, like, no, look, like, this is amazing, this path is beautiful, you should enjoy. But there's not for them now, probably. Maybe in 10 years, they might be ready to enjoy this path. Maybe not in this lifetime. And just being okay with that, even if it's sad that you see people who you love being so much absorbed by the 3D reality that they don't understand how powerful they are. But then again, it's not up to you to awaken that part of themselves. It's your only role is to follow your purpose. And as you follow your purpose, you're going to inspire others to follow their purpose too. And whoever is ready to walk that path, they're going to come to you and be like, hey, girl, I see you glowing. I see you doing your thing. Teach me the way. Like, what did you say that you're doing? But people are going to come to you, and it doesn't have to be the other way around. Because when you do it the other way around, you're forcing it. Again, when you're forcing, things are not going to flow. You have to do your own thing, and whoever is ready, they're going to come to you, and they're going to be like, yeah, I want to be part of this too. I want a piece of the cake. I want to be I want to understand truly who I am, and that is the beauty of following your path and following your purpose, following your dharma, because you're not forcing people to see life the same way that you see it. They have the choice to see it if they want to, but not because you're forcing them to see it. It's because they want to be part of it. And the only thing that you're here to do is to do what your intuition is telling you to do. Follow what brings joy into your life, even if people disagree with it. Because people are going to disagree with it. People are not going to understand what it is that you're going through. People are just going to be triggered by you. People are going to say mean things to you. But as long as you are happy and you make decision from your heart and you're doing it out of love, the way that people react is it's not your concern.
Yeah. I saw this quote where it said, other people's opinions are not my business.
Exactly.
Other people's opinions of me that's not my business. And,
exactly.
And I'm like, that's right. Like, that's so true. Like, it's not. And it's just like, and paying attention to that just, it sucks more energy out than even like creating more of the value that already made them want to give you their opinion. Like, I just think of myself as just like, okay, would I even, if I have the time to like type out a whole mean comment or like a whole paragraph of why this person is not doing what's right and all this stuff, it's like, if I have all that time, all that energy, and I'm not focusing that on myself, that's an issue. I'm not focusing that on love and kindness and peace or whatever, all the good stuff. Like, I'm just detracting. I'm detracting from this person's experience. At least I think so. But then really that's just detracting from myself. Yeah. And it's like often we have been programmed to believe that what we do to other people does not affect us at all. And that's completely not true. Like, it's really not true. We're all connected. We truly are all connected. And we're all gods on this earth, gods and goddesses. And so it's just like, when I honor the god or goddess in you, the divine being in you, I'm honoring myself. When I dishonor that divinity in you, I dishonor the divinity within myself. Like, there's no breakage there. There's always going to be that connection. And when we really get that into our minds, like, and into our path and make that our mission to just honor myself and I honor the God in someone else. Like that's what I do. No matter every single day, that's what I'm doing. I'm honoring God. Like,
yeah.
I didn't know how powerful like all these different phrases and words and all these things mean, because I would say all these things in the programming of like religion, specifically Christianity.
Yeah.
And I would put such a limit on God, the essence of that divine being, like such a limit. And it's just like, I think that I'm honoring some man in the clouds, and it's just like no, like it's not about going to church. It's not about necessarily preaching the gospel. The gospel is you. Like that gospel is your life. And when you're like, oh, like someone's going to ask you, why are you glowing? Why are you shining like that? This and that. It's like, that's your gospel. That's what you came here to show and to teach. You're just here to be. So when people see you being, they're going to be like, whoa, like, how can I be like that? Like, literally, the essence of be is you existing. Right?
Yeah. And honestly, I feel like there is nothing more beautiful to find your own relationship with the universe. Like, and the moment that you sit down and you're like, what type of path that I want to follow to connect myself with myself? And at the same time, remember, like when you build a relationship with yourself, you're building a relationship with God, because God exists within yourself, within you. And what is beautiful is when you find your own path of what type of relationship you want to have with the universe. It just like, it brings you so much joy instead of trying to follow what those spiritual expert are trying to tell you. You're supposed to talk to the universe this way. You're supposed to say X affirmation. No, like what serves you? What makes you happy? What type of affirmation works for you? What type of tools do you want to use that truly make you feel connected to God and the universe? Because that is truly what spirituality represents to me. It is finding what works for me and my own relationship with the universe. And I found other people who are also in the spiritual journey might not see it the same way that I do. And that doesn't mean that you're doing it wrong. You just find doing it your own way, a way that works for you, that way that empowers you, a way that appreciate your intuition. Because I feel like if the moment that you start walking away from your intuition and trying to listen what other people told you, like this is the way that you're supposed to be spiritual, there is not a specific way to be spiritual. Like the reason why many people, and including myself, because I have to deprogram my own belief about religions. And then for me, I used to feel so guilty that I didn't go to church. I used to feel so guilty because I wasn't reading the Bible. And the moment that I walk away from that, just that guilt, that I feel so released. Like I feel so relieved that guilt it left my body. And I asked myself the question, what type of relationship that I want to have with God? What type of relationship I want to have within the universe? Whichever way you call it. And I found ways to communicate with God, communicate with the universe on my specific way, in a way that works for me. And I feel like what I don't like about spirituality in this pop culture, it just everybody is trying to teach you to do it one way. And it's getting very close and similar to religion. And the reason why people work from religion is because religion, it has a set of rules, and if you don't follow those rules, then you're a sinner. You're not connecting to God. You're not a child of God. You're going to hell. And I feel like right now we're doing the same thing with spirituality. I feel like there's a bunch of spiritual experts and whichever way you want to call it, because I feel like there's no expert. You're always learning. When it comes to universe, you're just like, I don't see myself as an expert. I feel like I'm a student of the universe, and I'm always learning about the universe. And for those people who call themselves spiritual gurus and experts, they're always gonna teach you like, okay, this is the way that you're supposed to meditate. This is the way that you're supposed to connect with the universe. This is the way that you're supposed to read your tarot card. This is the way that I'm like, girl, do it your own way.
Yeah.
Whichever way works for you. I feel like the two things that helped me to connect with the to connect with the universe, to connect to my spirit guide, connect with myself, is to cut tarot cards, my oracle card. That's my go-to. But as I sit down in meditation, I also speak out loud and thank God I live by myself so people don't think I'm crazy. And that's the way, that whole conversation with the universe. That is my way. There's so many different ways that you can do that. There are pendulums. There are, I don't know, mirror work. There are so many ways that you can build a relationship and to talk to your spirit guides, talk to the universe, gain guidance. That is unlimited, but you have to find a way that works for you.
Yeah.
You have to find your own path.
Yeah, that, like, I love what you're saying about finding your own path, but also about that toxic spirituality, and that's that modern, new age, whatever all these words are. But yeah, essentially that. And the thing is, spirituality, as we know it, has been around for like years, millennia. It's ancient. Yeah. And the thing is, all of us are spiritual. Yeah. Everyone's on their spiritual path. Even when they're not conscious of that path, they're still on it. And when we don't honor someone else who is sleeping, their consciousness, as in their sleep, they don't know that they're God. They're asleep at that point in time. That is not, belittling that doesn't help lift you up, and that doesn't actually help the God within you. And oftentimes, like, going into that ego space, that toxic spirituality is just in your ego space. And it's like, how are all these people who are saying that they're spiritual, they're navigating through their ego by trying to delineate what people should do in their spiritual journey and in their spiritual walk. Yeah. Even though, literally, if we're spiritual beings having a human experience, that means we're spirit first. We're a soul first. So that means our soul already knows what we're here to do. And that spiritual path is just unfolding it and figuring out like what it is and reminding ourselves and awakening ourselves. That's the thing. Like, it's not that you don't know. You're just not aware. That's the thing. And that's all this is. Like, everyone's awakening and all that stuff. It's just awakening to yourself. You're not awakening to anything else. Nothing is new. Nothing has really changed except for you. Yeah. And when you begin to change, your reality changes. I change, my reality changes. Just like you were saying, Keiry, like, every single choice that you make shifts your reality. If you choose to make a right turn or a left turn on a road and on an intersection, you are changing and shifting your reality. The trees that you're going to see will be different. The buildings that you pass will be different. The people that you see will be different. That's literally the choice that you have. Yeah. Every single choice is that. It is that intersection. And when you continuously heal yourself and continuously awaken, you'll be more aware of every choice being an intersection. When you're asleep, you're not even thinking about your choices as having any sort of compounding effect on your life. But when you awaken, you understand, oh, like, everything really matters. Like, oh, frequency matters. Like, oh, my energy, what I put out comes back to me. Oh, like, I already knew why I was supposed to be here. So, like, let me start doing this. Oh, like, I don't have to listen to other people because they have their own opinions based on their own viewpoint and their own lens. Like, when you realize that, and then you're like, there's just love. All I'm here, I just need to be loving and just chill. Yes. That's really all I really need to do here. Yeah. What? It just takes the pressure off, and then it really allows you to create. That's what we're here to do. We're all gods and goddesses.
Yeah.
They create. Like that's it. It's just create. So what are you creating? Not consuming, creating. Like that's the difference. And the reason why we're so like far behind as a culture, as a species, as a community is because it's too much consuming. We're not in our God-lit light state. We're not in that divine masculine, divine feminine. We're not there because we're not creating. Like, like divinity doesn't consume.
No, divinity creates. And I feel like we the way that we program is for us to consume more than we create.
Yeah.
And that one thing that I tell everybody is, especially people who work with me, it's like create more than you consume.
Yeah.
Create more than you consume. And if you see yourself consuming so much, it's like, what is it that you avoided? Because I feel like when you are in a space of constantly consuming other people's content, watching TV all the time, and I'm somebody, I love movies. I love my movies, and I love like laying down on the sofa and just like grabbing my favorite snack and watching a movie. But then it's like you have to do it from a space of like, I want to do this, not like I am avoiding my reality. So I'm going to do this to avoid sitting down with myself, to avoid sitting inside, and to avoid connected with the universe.
Yeah.
Because when we are sitting in that space, we're not allowing ourselves to connect to our inner being, because we are consuming, our brains are consuming so much crap that you see on social media, that you see even on TV, and when to the point that your thoughts are not your thoughts, are the thoughts that you keep consuming from other people. Because it's like and that's what it took me so long to reprogram my mind. It was because that's the way we were raised, consuming other people's content, listening what other people said about how life should be. And then we internalize that because we never took the time to sit down with ourselves and be like, which way do I want to live life? Which way do I want to walk my path? Besides the path that my parents telling me to walk, besides the path that society is telling me to walk, which path do I want to walk? And it's the same when it comes with spirituality. You have to decide, what path do I want to walk if I'm going through the spiritual journey? Which way feels more in alignment to me? Not because my friend, she is somebody who's into astrology, I'm going to tap into astrology because she's into astrology. No, that's something that she feels called to, and then she's doing it because she likes it. Do I like astrology? Do I want to do this? Do I want to learn of human design? Do I want to learn about Akashic records? Do I want to connect with aliens? Because there's so many ways that you can build a connection with the universe. But you get to decide which way feels good to you, and stop listening what people on social media says that spirituality should be, what path you should be walking. Just the moment that you say something, it kind of like awaken your curiosity. Learn about it. Does it still resonate with you? Do you still feel connected to it? And there are things that are meant to serve a purpose for a period of time in your life to get you to a next level. Because when I first started my spiritual journey, I was very connected to crystals. And I was like, I want to get crystals. And I feel like that was the beginner level of spirituality. Of like, I want crystals. And I love my crystals. I hold my crystals. I meditate with my crystals. Yeah. But I understand that I don't need crystal to channel a specific energy, because that's what crystals do for you. Like, crystals hold a specific energy, and if you want to tap into the energy, you do it with the crystals. But I know and I understand now, I don't need to hold a crystal to tap into that energy. That energy exists within me. I can shift that within my mind. I can sit down and visualize the energy that I want to feel at that moment. And that's the thing. Crystals are tools. Everything that people says about crystal, about, I don't know, sage, about I don't know, there's so many things. But you have to remember that you can do it yourself. Don't relate onto those tools to connect with the universe, to connect to your intuition. Those are things that you can do yourself without it. Those are tools that can amplify that energy, can speed something up, but that doesn't necessarily mean that you have to relate on it to get whatever you want to be. I use oracle cards, and I love oracle cards. But I use oracle cards sometimes just as a confirmation. But most of the time, I already know the answer.
Yeah.
Like, I already know the answer. And if it's something that I'm like, okay, like I feel indecisive about it, let me pull out my oracle cards, let me pull out my tarot cards and see what the card has to say to me. The same thing that I just knew. So it's like a lot of time. It's just like, we have so much. Yeah, you have to trust yourself, and we have some more power that we think we have. And all those things that exist right now in spirituality, all those tools, are amplifier, are things that's going to speed up something, but you can do it without it. You can create your reality without it too. And that's the thing that I have to learn the hard way, because I was so related into my tools to connect to the universe that if I didn't have it, I'm like, oh shit, I don't have my tarot card, so how I can speak to my spirit guides today when I can just sit in a meditation and allow the answer to come to me. Where I can just go on a walk and allow the answer to come to me. So it's like the thing is, when it comes to spirituality, a lot of people are putting that belief that we need those tools for people to walk the spiritual path, but you don't really need it. We are, like you said, we are spiritual being first before being human. So our spirit, it's one with the universe. So we one with the universe. We already have the answer to everything. You just gotta listen to yourself.
Yeah. That's the lie that you've been told, that you don't know anything. Like, that's a lie. We've all been told it. Our parents have been told it. Our teachers were told it. Our neighbors were told it. So it's like no blaming anyone. It's just we've all been lied to. Yeah. And like, once you realize, oh, like, that's a lie, it's very simple. So that's why it just spreads so easily, because it's super simple, and it's just like, oh, okay, yeah. I'm human. So, I mean, maybe I don't know a lot, whatever. And then it's just like, wait, what? Like, what? I know my map already. Like, I know my plan. Like, I just need to sit and be quiet.
Yep.
Yeah. It's that simple. And that's the thing. People may feel like resistance, let's say it that way. Yeah. Resistance towards how simple spirituality is, and how complicated the media is making spirituality seem to be. Yeah. And that's not necessarily the case. Like, it's literally you. That's it. You and being open. Yeah. Those are the two components that are really necessary. And it's when you're open, and when you're like, oh, I'm going to find out what I'm here to do, who I am, how I'm supposed to add value onto this earth. Like, and who I'm supposed to do things with, who I'm supposed to do business with, all these things. Like, you're just it's going to be like a snowball effect, like just compilation. Like, your intuition is now guiding you. And that is such a great feeling, because then you fully trust what's going on in every situation. Like, you just trust it. You're like, oh, okay, like, now I understand, like, oh, I felt called to go here at this time. That means I'm supposed to be here. And then something happens that confirms the reason why you even went there in the first place. It's just like, there's no coincidences. There's no luck. Nope. There's just frequency. There's attraction. like there's momentum. And right now I'm diving into the laws of the universe so I can learn more about how these different laws come into play, because they affect us whether we are aware of it or not. Just like gravity, you can't tell gravity like, hey, like, yo, just stop putting me down. I just want to float right now. You can't tell gravity to do that. You know what I'm saying? And just like like the law of detachment, the law of attraction, the law of momentum, all these different laws, the law of unity. There's so many laws.
There's so many laws.
Yeah, like however they determine and they affect our lives regardless. And that's the beautiful thing about it. So being knowledgeable of that, like that's something that I am diving into and putting my student hat on for, so that I can bring more information to you all, because I'm like, we need to know these laws. Like we need to know how we're interacting with the universe, what we can do to help empower ourselves. That's really it. Like everything's a tool. If you detach yourself from like, oh, this is something that I must have, or this is someone that I must have, or this is an experience that I must have to fill whatever, you're navigating way too much in ego and you're way too attached. But when you practice that detachment, like taking a step back and you're like, oh, okay, all this is a tool. I'm going to use this tool today. I'm going to use another tool today. I'm going to use something else. And it's like, that's when the magic happens. Like the magic is already happening, but that's when you'll be aware of the magic.
Yeah. And I do believe that, like, I feel like the power, it's not allowing people to tell or to give your power away to people to tell you the way that you should walk your spiritual journey. I feel like you have to detach yourself from what other people are saying and be like, do I connect with this? Right? Like, do I really want to diving into this? Is that something that my soul is telling me to walk? Because I feel like your souls know what path you want to walk, and a true spiritual leader, so call it, I guess, like people, I don't know, whoever call themselves leaders, I mean, I respect that, but I would say true spiritual leader would not force you to walk a specific way. Will not force you to do something specifically to evolve in spiritual way. I feel like a true spiritual leader, and I feel like just be mindful the type of people that you consume content from, because there's nothing more scary than somebody who is spiritual who has a huge ego. That huge ego, that God complex of like, I'm way spiritual above than you, and this is the way that you should do this because I am more spiritual aware than you are. You have to be mindful of those type of creators on social media, and you use your discernment to decide, do I want to do this the same way that this person doing it? Do I feel relatable to what this person is saying? Because I feel like the issue with this spirituality community right now is that everybody have different opinions, and somebody who are new into the spiritual journey can become a consumer of those creators instead of them focusing their own path. And I love to listen to spiritual podcasts. I love to consume this type of content, but there's a limit for me to be, one, how often I'm gonna consume this content, and two, if I want to integrate those beliefs that or whatever they're doing into my own spiritual journey. Because again, it's gonna look different from everybody, and you will know if you listen to something. You will know, like, oh wow, like I really resonate with this. Let me Google this. What does this represent? You will know. Because I have listened to so many different podcasts about all different ways of spirituality, and there are things that really be living on my mind, and I cannot stop thinking about it. And that's a sign for me to be like, okay, I need to learn more about this. I need to find out what is this about. But then again, I would say to anybody who is starting this spiritual journey right now, yes, you can consume other people's content to understand spirituality, but don't use them as a guideline how you're going to take on your spiritual journey, because everybody's journey is going to look different. Just listen to your intuition. You don't have to believe and implement everything that everybody says online. Because there's so many opinions, there's so many views, and there's not, and would not disagree with their views. I feel like there is a truth about everything, right? I feel like everybody have different perceptions of spirituality. Again, that's why we've been talking about spirituality. It just come in so many different ways, but it necessarily means that you have to be like that person who you see on social media. There doesn't mean that you have to put that person on a pedestal because they're spiritual evolved. And there is a lot of people who have a spiritual ego when they will see other people in the spiritual journey and they will want to disagree, like, no, this is not the way you do it. Or they will see somebody who hasn't tapped in the spiritual journey and they believe that I am better than you because I am in my path, I'm awakened and you're not. Just be truly mindful of that, because there's a lot of them online. There's a lot, it's a bunch of them online. So you just have to be truly mindful of who you consume content from and really use the discernment and understand there's polarity for everything, including spirituality.
I love that. Polarity for everything. Yeah. And it's true. Everyone is speaking their truth. And that's why there's a universal truth. It's just all different pieces of the truth.
Yeah.
And each of us have different perspectives of it through each of our lens. And so it's just like honoring our own perspective, honoring other people's perspective, understanding like your intuition is really what you need to focus on. Like, that's what we all need to focus on. Like intuition, discernment, wisdom. Those qualities, like, they will get us all very, very far, and to really live the life that we are desiring and what we're manifesting, whether that be an experience, whether that be a type of reality, whether that be a person, a thing, a material, something, value, impact, business, whatever that is, like intuition, discernment, and wisdom, like that's where it's at. Like that's truly where it's at, and it's a practice. It's not going to come just overnight. It's a practice. So when you're dedicated to your self-evolution, dedicated to your healing, you will find how powerful you are. You'll find out. Like every single day will be like, whoa, like I did that, or whoa, like I thought about this and then it happens. Like what? I could do this. Like it's an amazing journey. Honestly, it's an amazing journey. It really is. And that's why, like, the podcast exists, GlowGetter Affirmations, which I'm changing the name of the podcast soon, so stay tuned. But that's why the essence of the podcast exists, in order to act as a tool. Like, don't rely on just one avenue of thought. Like, go find what aligns with you. That's the thing. Always looking for alignment. If something's not aligning, don't force it.
Exactly.
There's no fun in forcing nothing. Like nothing. When you force, you're going against yourself, and you're going against the other person. You're going against whatever anything is. You're just resisting it. You're forcing it. You're going against. When you're going against, you're not going for. So it's not even for you if you have to force it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And don't blame yourself because I feel like there's this level of feeling inferior and blaming yourself because you will see some people expressing, oh, I had this gift, and I can do this, and I'm able, I don't know, for example, like, I'm able to clearly listen to my spirit guides, or I'm able to lucid dream and able to astral project. Like, you also can tap into that, and not because somebody else have done it, and doesn't mean you cannot do it. It's you use other people as an inspiration of like, okay, I can tap into this if I feel called to tap into this. I feel like we all are child of the universe. Again, the law of oneness. We are all one, and what is possible for others is also possible for you. So remember that you also hold that power, and don't feel inferior if you see somebody's spiritual journey and you're like, oh wow, this person can do this, then I cannot do that. Don't go into that route. Just see it from this perspective of like, well, if this person did it, I know it's possible for me. So if I feel called to do this, then I know there is possible, because this person is a proof that it's possible for me too.
Yeah. And that's the beauty of it. Like, our journey is just living proof. That like living proof, creating that proof within yourself, like manifesting that proof. Like when everybody talks, talk is cheap.
Yeah.
Everybody talks. Everybody feels like they know what they're doing, this and that, and talking about it. But it's really, what can you show me? How can you express whatever you're saying that you know? Like, that expression, that emotion, that feeling. Like, when I'm in your presence, how do I feel? And that's how you know, like, then if you're in someone's presence and you feel like you're standing on holy ground, they're in the right spot. They're in the right frequency.
Yeah.
Just like if you're the one who is moving around on this planet and someone comes up to you and they're like, oh, like, just something about you is just like, it's just gravitating. I don't know why I wanted to come in here, this and that. Like, people have those feelings because we are all connected, and we all have that magnetic field. And so focus on your own field, because it's going to influence everybody, even the people who are quote unquote doubting you and quote unquote being mean, or quote unquote all these things. And when I say quote unquote, it's because they're really doing it to themselves. It's not even you. Like, you can't do anything to someone else that you're not doing to you. If you're rude to somebody else, you're rude to you.
Exactly.
Like, yeah, if you're not being honest to somebody else, then you're not being honest with yourself. And it's a tough pill to swallow, and I've had to swallow that pill multiple times. That ego pill of like, oh, like, I wasn't navigating properly in that, or wow, like, I lied to somebody, and that's me lying to myself. Like, no, like, that needs to stop. Being honest with ourselves and transparent. That's the thing. It's not always pretty to be very transparent, and especially transparent with yourself. But when you do open up to yourself, you're like, whoa, like, there's just more to learn. There's more growth to be had. And that's a way to honor you. Honestly.
Yeah. I feel like the beauty of being here in this journey is that it's like honestly, I feel like there's so many paths to walk, but the only true path is to walk onto yourself. I feel like a lot of we jump into this journey, we say like, oh my God, there is this, there is that, there is this, there is that. But then honestly, the true path that you have to walk is the path to go home to yourself and work on yourself, heal your traumas. And we have this duty and this task in this life, and I'm a true believer of this, is that if you are awakened in this lifetime, it's because you are meant to heal some generational trauma from the past that your ancestor went through. And your path, part of your path, it's to not allow that to continue to happen generations down. You are chosen to start healing your generation. If you awaken at this moment and you go into this journey, focus on healing yourself, because healing yourself is going to heal the generations to come. So that's what I mean with coming home to yourself. Coming home to yourself, it means loving yourself, valuing yourself, healing yourself, nurturing that inner child. So when you have kids or whoever it's around your environment moving forward, you are coming with healing energy, and not with the energy that it's being said from generation to generation, trauma under traumas and trauma. Like, you're not passing any negative trauma to your generation anymore, because you are working on yourself and you're healing yourself.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's the beauty of it, and that's the power that we all have, and that's why today's message is just find your path. Like, honor you. That's really it. When you honor you honor those around you, and you honor the world, and you honor God. Like, it's mind blowing. Just speaking about it gives me goosebumps, because it's so real and it's so powerful. And I'm just grateful to have this divine conversation with you, because oftentimes it's tough to have conversations like this that are super real, but also a little bit out there in the metaphysical space.
Yeah.
And so it's just let's bridge the gap from our ego to our higher selves, the 3Ds, the 4, the 5. There's so many dimensions that we still haven't tapped into at this point in time. But it's just we're just bridging gaps every single time that we speak. And I'm grateful for your existence. Honestly. Yeah. Very grateful.
Yeah. And there's nothing more beautiful to being home with yourself. There's nothing. I feel like I have learned to love myself so much the moment I decided to nurture myself and to give myself the love that I was wishing to have from others.
Yeah.
I'm giving it to myself. And there's nothing more beautiful to being in love with yourself and being at home with yourself, and understanding that tapping into yourself is tapping with God, it's tapping with the universe, it's tapping with other people. And some people might not grasp it, some people might not understand it, but then some people might never understand. And it's okay. It's okay, not everybody's going to understand what you're going through. It's okay that not everybody is going to accept this new version of you, because the moment that you decide to work on yourself and you decide to heal yourself, that's going to trigger so many different emotions into people, and people are not, there's some people that might not going to understand you, and then other people that you're going to inspire them to walk their own path. Again, polarity for everything. So as you work on yourself, don't think that everybody are going to accept and love you. Some people might not, but then that's not about you. It's about themselves. It's about them and their own journey and the things that they need to work on themselves. And there's nothing to do with you. You're just a trigger for them. You're just that needle that pinch something, and then, but there's nothing to deal with you. So the only thing that you're here to do is to honor yourself and continue loving the people who loving you for who you are and who you're becoming.
Love that. Yeah. Honor you. That's it. Honor you. Peace and prosperity. I'm so glad you all tuned in to this entire episode of Finding Your Path, Toxic Spirituality, and really understanding boundaries, inner guidance, and intuition. So, till the next episode, peace and love.